Hello, I'm Dr. Christian von Lahr of Messenger, and with me today we have a very special guest, Susan Miller of astrologyzone.com. Now, we want to have a very interesting topic that's going to delight our viewers because we're going to bring that ancient wisdom into the field of astrology. Now, a lot of things have changed in astrology, and there's been a lot of influences on where the planets are associated with people that were really well noted in the past. And I'd like to start off by looking at that planet and consciousness, or planet and ascended master or beings connection of the Greeks and the Romans and other ancient cultures. I bet you know a lot about that subject, right?
Yes, I studied the history of astrology for my book, Planets and Possibilities. And I really learned a lot during that time. It took me 4 years to write that book, but it was a labor of love.
I can imagine with 12 planets that we know of, or 11 planets now.
Well, there's 8 planets, what's the sun and moon. No, we still look at Pluto. He may be a little dwarf.
What about Vulcan? Wasn't that a planet at one time?
Oh, yes, yes,
yeah, right,
yes.
Yeah. And Hephaestus, I think, was the connection.
Yes,
So what I'm thinking, let's see what some of those major planet associations are, because they fit into the astrology process, right?
Yeah.
Like Mars. Now, the Greeks and Romans thought of him as a warrior, and they portrayed him as a warrior. Is that something that's carried through in astrology?
Well, you know what? Originally, he was associated with agriculture.
No way. Really?
Yeah, and that kind of fell away, and then he became a protector. But in a way, if you think about food...
It sounds like metaphors then, right?
That's, you know, if you don't have food, you die, and if you don't have a protector from armies, you die. So he just took on a slightly different kind of coloration. He is the planet of courage, determination. If you have too much Mars or in a bad angle, he can be inflammation or too much aggression. It just depends on how Mars is angled. If he goes a little too far afield.
now Mars is, if I'm correct, represents the first sign of the zodiac,
yes,
right?
Aries.
So they're idyllic, first of all, correct?
Idyllic?
Is it everything's ideal? They want everything's going to be positive. Everything's going to come up well.
They're positive and optimistic.
Optimistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting though. This makes Mars sound very much like the Archangel Michael. Is there an association there?
Yeah, I think you could make a case for that. Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yes.
So as we have this discussion, I'm going to see, since I know something of the archangels, if I can't make an association there for you. Now, there is a flaming halo that we know that we associate with Archangel Michael, by the way. And though he's a very tall archangel, we normally see this halo that's glowing orangish or red, which I assume would be the colors of Mars.
It is.
There you go. Okay.
Mars rules red.
It sounds like it's going to be fun when we bring in all the different cultures.
I love this.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, you know, in the spiritual realm, we also bring in an archangel called Haniel, which is the planet Venus. Okay. Now, picking up that last topic, we can just pick up on Venus.
Hello?
Yeah.
I don't know why it does that.
It's a two-button phone, yeah.
Hello? Hi. Princess? Oh, good. Did he say he's going to call you when he's ready? Oh, okay. We're in the middle of taping. That's okay. So we'll call you in like 40 minutes, probably. All right. Is that okay?
It'll probably be longer, Chris. It'll probably be longer.
Might go a little over that, he said.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
And we'll start with Venus again.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's still rolling, so go ahead and pick up anytime you want.
Okay. You know, picking up that last topic of the color, there's another archangel that's very significant in the spiritual realm, and that's Archangel Haniel, which we associate with the planet Venus. Now, listen to this. You're going to find this interesting. When we actually see her spiritually, which we can, this archangel, she uses the colors of pink with white in it, yellow with white in it, blue with white in it, and green with white in it. The only archangel that brings in this harmony of colors. I'm thinking that although she's represented as love by the ancients, I think harmony might come in there too, right?
Totally. And Venus rules both Taurus and Libra. And those are exactly the colors. For a Taurus, we associate it with just the colors you've said, because those are the colors we see in May.
The same colors?
The exact
That's
same
amazing.
color.
Okay.
And in Libra, we go a little bit more dusty, powdery, like the
Okay.
colors of the Rococo era, the rose and the dusty blues. And things
Libra,
like
you
that.
said, right? Now, since Haniel, or Venus, is the harmonizing archangel also, those colors all blend, harmonies of nature, harmonies in the universe, Libra, although it's a scale balancing, in a way, I guess we could see a harmony connection.
Totally about harmony.
Okay.
It produces not only great lawyers and judges, that sign, but also curators of museums and people who are looking for perfect balance. Did you know at that time of the year, sunlight and evening are exactly the same? Now, it is true that Aries has the same thing. In April,
Right.
it is again equal. But because you're growing in darkness in October, darkness in astrology is thou, whereas light is me.
Now, I kind of like this
So-
since I'm a Scorpio, by the way.
Thou. So Libra is very partnership oriented
Okay.
and brings in the feelings and thoughts of the other person. Libra is the one sign that
You said
credits
something kind of
others.
interesting. I don't think anyone's thought of this. Since Venus is also the morning and evening star, does that associate with balance
True.
also?
Yes.
Because, you know, the ancients would have said that's how we designate, of course it was seasons and things like that because it shows up differently throughout the year, but actually when we think of things like this 2012 and we're looking in the center of the galaxy, when we see a cross there, it's how we delineated heaven and hell in the ancient world, that concept of heaven and hell. I think we'll talk about that in another segment.
Wow,
This is
yeah,
exciting.
I love it.
Let's see who else comes up. We also
Okay.
have in spirituality, and we see these archangels when we read people, like clairvoyantly we can see them. We have Archangel Uriel, which is an archangel we associate with the earth itself, tends to have a yellow color. And this is what's interesting. Yellow,
Wow.
in spiritual terms, usually means communication, and we can allow a little orange in there too. So how does that, is there
It's
association?
Gemini
okay.
is associated with bright yellow. It is
Okay.
a sign of intellect. Just think of yellow. It's the orange juice you have in the morning.
Right.
It's the yellow pad you write your thoughts on. It's it's energizing, and Gemini is the curious sign, and it is associated only with yellow.
Okay.
It is also the sign that is an excellent negotiator and is associated with sales as well.
This
and
is
money.
interesting because if Uriel is the deity, so to speak, or archangel of the earth, everything should have been perfectly defined. There's a way everything's supposed to work. So it sounds like there's a nature to it. So there's a nature component to this as well.
You know what's interesting, at the very beginning when you were discussing Uriel, you were saying it was associated with the earth. Well, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and he was upset that he wasn't on Mount Olympus, so he had to find a way to get up there with his sisters and brothers, because Zeus had an affair and he was trying to keep it kind of secret, and Mercury shows up as a result of that affair.
Well, you know, Jupiter's lucky, right?
Well, a little Mercury had the gift of communication.
That's right.
And I read it's the sweetest little myth ever in Planets and Possibilities. I read about this, but Apollo figures out that there's something going on with this amazing baby, brings him to Zeus, and the baby speaks so well, and Zeus has him on the lap, and Gemini's charming, and he's charming Zeus, and he can't really disavow his little boy. He doesn't know what to do at this point. He's kind of in a box, and he says, you know what? You will be the messenger of the gods. You will travel from Hades to heaven to earth. You can go anywhere you want to go. You're the only god that has free access. That's why Gemini is associated with travel, because Hermes or Mercury could go anywhere he wanted to go.
It's strange. I have such a connection to Mercury. Comes
Yes.
in all the time in the readings I do, and for some other people, and we have similar characteristics when that happens. When Mercury communicates, for example, in a reading, there's like this double R sound. So there's a characteristic,
Really?
okay?
Wow.
And there's always this communication characteristic, but also magic. When I see Mercury coming in for people, they have an ability to manifest or something magical. They can always communicate, and I find there's a musical connection, good with letters and numbers, Now, I think the association with Mercury, letters, and numbers is because all of those probably represented a wisdom at one time, because we didn't start out writing or using numbers, right? But we developed philosophies and thinking, and we associated these symbols with it.
Yes.
Okay? For example, Mercury also held that staff that the medical profession uses now, but it was a wisdom symbol, and it represented the chakras and the kundalini raising. When you get it up there after a perfect rhythm, it opens up into spirit.
Well, guess what? Mercury rules Virgo too, and Virgo being an earth sign.
Earth sign, there we go.
See, whereas Gemini just loves news. They're just happy. You know, like the best gift you could give Gemini is a piece of information.
I thought it was a telephone.
Or a telephone,
All the ones
or
I
an
know
email.
give them a telephone.
But they love knowing things first.
Okay.
But little Virgo's looking at Gemini saying, Gemini, what are you going to do with that news? Because Gemini's air, so it's in the wind, whereas Virgo is earth. They want to have a practical application. And because of Mercury's association with Virgo next, it is associated with medicine and with that symbol of medicine. And
you know, the Virgos that I've known, and I hear other people saying that they're critical sign, and I don't really get that they're critical. It seems like if there's something in front of them to solve or figure out, or I'm not sure if they're looking for perfection, but I don't think it's really critical. In fact, they're more critical of themselves, I've noticed.
Yes, well, they're just very organized. They see things. They look and they pay attention. They're very present. They're very flexible, though, because all the mutable signs are extremely flexible. Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius. But Virgo is the best sign to send into a crisis situation like Haiti or Katrina.
Really?
Because they're the ones where everyone is kind of losing their heads and feeling overwhelmed. They're saying the tents, the water, the children, the trucks, you know, they're, and the system of getting all the food to people.
Logisticians or...
Yeah, they're great at that, And if plan 1 doesn't work, because they're flexible, they go to plan B or C easily.
Wow, this has been amazing. You know, we're going to come back to Messenger, and I think we're going to try an even bigger subject. Let's talk about how astrology might have changed. I think it might have changed. Not sure what your position is, but you know, it's been around a long time, and we have a lot of cultures doing things with astrology. Some say it started here, other places say there's a connection to pyramids or Alexandria. That's a mystery to solve when we come back with Susan Miller.